Shalom, first and foremost, I want to give our praises and glory to Jehovah, Shimei, Sheba, Shimei, Kakadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and the apostle, a great millstone, who will and teach your son doctrine, and peace and blessings to your elect. No, I was kind of meditating on Matthew 13, and I think it was the 33rd chapter. I mean, the 33rd verse. Is it the 31st? Let me see. Kingdom of Heaven is like a field. Kingdom of Heaven is like a net. I see. It's somewhere. It's somewhere in this verse. I think it's somewhere. Like somewhere in this chapter. But anyway, Matthew was 13, and one the same day when Yahushua out the house and sat by the seaside, and a great multitude were gathered together unto him. And this great multitude is, multitude meaning that a large number of people were around him. So that he went into a ship and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore. And he spake many things unto them in a parable, saying, and a parable is just like a story. Behold, a sower went forth to sow, and when he sowed some seeds, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. Some fell upon stone. Some fell upon stony places. Sorry, I need some water. Some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. Some fell upon the stony places. Now immediately when I read this verse, remember the scripture says, "Many are called, but few are chosen." Because you remember, throughout the years, especially brothers that have been in this truth less time than me, longer than me, and even longer before I was born. Because I remember this thing is going back to, like, I think, the 70s. I remember you had Abba Bivens, King Marshall, and then, elders and apostles. So, throughout the time where this truth has been preached, you have people coming. And what's happened with some people are falling out because, not gonna say who, but I remember one brother said he wanted to go back into the world. I think it was during the whole Crown Royal situation. No, sorry, maybe a bit after that. But he wanted to go to school and party. And that seemed a bit sus. That seemed a bit sus to one of the brothers, and brothers like, I mean, you said you want to take the Vanessa for that? And I remember, and then I was like, I haven't seen or heard the brother anywhere. I hope he's alright. So I went to ask around different brothers. I'm like, what happened? Where is he? What happened to the brother and thing? Hey, like, bro, I'm sorry to say it to you, but the brother fell out. And then I remember talking to this next brother, because I was like, is it true? And he's like, oh yeah, I've been knowing that, The next brother is telling me. I was like, oh my goodness, cause me and the brother that was talking, we have a great band. Although I haven't heard from the brother in some time. We used to talk on social platform, but I try to reach out to the brother soon, cause it's been a long time since I heard from him. He's a great brother as well. But I'm not gonna say privacy sake. I'm not gonna mention anyone involved. Some fell out because and you see this all the time. They get to a certain point to where they think they know more than their teachers, to where they think they're so deep and they have a newfound knowledge that they one day woke up and they got. Some people, some want to be the main guy. Unfortunately, not everyone can be the main guy. It's just like a movie. Some will be side characters. some will be main characters, some will be background characters. But nonetheless, everybody has a role to play. Some fell out because of that first Edges 426. Some ran out there with for women. I've told a couple of females in the past about the truth, and well, Salakia. I told one, I wasn't with the one, but she was like a friend. I told one woman about the truth. I was like sending her the videos trying to, edify her and things like that. What happened? She started doing. So she didn't like how the brothers were. She didn't mind the men, but she was like, we don't need to be talking that way about the women. We should just be protecting them. Then what happened? I knew what was gonna happen. She started asking me certain questions. I'm like, this sounds like you've been watching a Black Conscience. And she's like saying, I didn't listen to anyone. I did my own research. And then lo and behold, straight into the same community she said she wasn't listening to. Well, but listen, I tell people, we cannot save ourselves. Never mind to save somebody else. I remember someone said, "Oh, he can only save himself, but you have to want to save yourself." As some people believe that, some people say they believe in ancestors. When we are them come back and with our respect, our ancestors back then, they needed saving themselves. But all various reasons to causing brothers to follow as some of the seeds, something. So like let me. Some of the seeds were sown, but some of them fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them. And that can be likened unto, brothers falling out, and then those demons, those 7 demons jumping on them, and they're falling out for an insignificant reason. For example, the world, or they're getting certain pressures. When you have to count the cost for all these things anyway, because you will get pressured. In our aspects, you get pressured over nothing, and this is this is the most this Yehovah or Shai, it should be your priority. So of course you're gonna get that resistance from people. The resistance is the way how you know that you're doing something right. So yeah, some fell upon stony places where they had not much earth, and that's like, for example, you're just someone who was just, you're just someone who was watching the videos for entertainment, not studying, not reading, not learning. Eventually you could find you're not trying to nurture your new, what's the word? You're not trying to, is it nurture, nutri? Is it you're not trying to, what's the word? You're not trying to feed yourself. You're not trying to feed yourself with this truth and with the knowledge and with the scripture. You're not trying to feed yourself. So, because you're not trying to feed yourself, you could starve yourself and you could just be sifted out. Because if you're just watching this for entertainment and you are not, you're not taking this thing seriously and you're not considering anything, then, watching this for entertainment will only bring you so far. Eventually, either the spirit may, most people won't get this first time. I never got this first time. I definitely didn't get this first time. The spirit, the spirit may jump on you, or you may just turn around and say, man, I can't bother with this. Them kind of say, or you may find yourself in the middle. But even if you find yourself in the middle, as I said, eventually you have to pick one side. You can't just be, as the scripture says, as the scripture said, because you are neither hot nor cold, I will vomit you out my mouth. You have to, you have to pick in or out. as you see, as you may be a kid and you may be at the doorway and somebody might say to you, yo, you have to pick if you're inside the house or outside the house because I don't have no time if you stand up at the doorway and things like that. We're not much earth and forthwith they sprung up because they had no deepness in the earth. And when the sun was up, they was scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. And the scorch, remember, it's good to although you have to be on point to the best of your abilities. Don't make yourself miserable. Don't be over righteous, because when if you aim to be over righteous, you're gonna make yourself miserable, and you're just gonna burn out because you're gonna burn yourself out. Because you're gonna start looking into things that you can't control. And as I think it was Elder Manata Zachbar said, the things you can do, but the things that you can't control. Because obviously we don't make anything. The things, and when I say like combs, for example, because someone was going on about the comb having the comb fibers going off, but the things that you can't control, you just can't really worry. You can't worry about them. But you have to do what you can do to the best of your ability. And some fell amongst thorns, and thorns sprung up and choked them. And those thorns, as I was talking to I believe it was actually at my office. I was talking about being around the wrong crowd of people too much. And eventually, if you're around the wrong crowd of people too much, you can get corrupted, and you can end up start thinking like them. And nobody is impervious. Nobody's impervious. This is something I've said myself for a long time. Like if you're around, for example, drug deal, gangbang and drug deal, etc., 24/7, there comes a point where you could be compromised. Your way of thought could be compromised by them. But the other fell into good ground and brought forth fruit, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. I remember every man has a different measure. But because, for example, this person may have a stronger spirit than you, but that's not for you to look at this person with disdain. No, they were just given a greater measure, but the Lord gave you something as well, and you should be grateful to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua for what you are given. Who has ears to hear, let him hear. And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever have not, from him shall be taken away even that he hath. Let me go back over it. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. And whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away even that he hath. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they see not. So in other words, they have eyes but they are blind, and they have ears but they don't listen. Neither do they understand. And in them and in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah. I believe that's the prophet Isaiah, which saith, by hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing you shall see, and shall not perceive. In other words, you're gonna hear it, but you're not gonna get it. You can be told it and you can be shown it, but it's not for you to get the understanding, so you're just not gonna receive it. For these people's hearts, for this people's heart is wax gross, and their ears are dull of hearing. And Baruch 2:30, I believe it. Baruch 2:30 says, we are a stiff-necked people. But in the land of our captivity, we shall remember ourselves. We are a stiff-necked people, and the word stiff-neck is synonymous with stubborn and being hard of hearing. And you see here, it says their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they shall see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. So in other words, the Lord gave us the understanding to be able to understand. The Lord gave us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to understand the scriptures, to decipher the times, to basically to know what's going on. Because when all hell breaks loose, these people are going to be scratching their heads, and they're going to be going to all these different people, and they're not going to be able to produce an answer to them. And then they're going to remember, and then someone's going to say, because most people nowadays, they will either know someone who knows the truth, or they know someone who knows someone who knows the truth. Cause cause it's gone out there. Like I was just outside, like I was buying food. Like I've been at funerals, and most places, I'm just taking a backseat, and they were like, about the Israelites. You know where the children is, and they give me scriptures. I'm like, okay. I just taking a backseat, and I'm just I'm just listening. But that was at a funeral. But the one that was out, I was just eavesdropping, because it was a conversation between it was a three-way conversation, and I was like, okay, that's what you call it, that's the spirit. You see you see the truth. You can't deny that the truth is not God out there. And it's funny because nobody had to go on of course brothers maybe on planes, but no one had to go on planes to spread this. This was our spread through the spirit and via YouTube as well. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When anyone heareth the word of the kingdom, and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one, and catches away that which is sown in his heart. This is he which received the seed by his wayside. But he that received the seed into the stony places, the same as he that heareth the words, and anon with joy receiveth it. Yet he hath not root himself in, but dureth for a while. For when the tribulation or persecution arises, because of the word, by and by he is offended. He that also received the seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word and cares of this world, of deceitfulness, riches, choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful. As I said, you have to count the cost. You have to count the cost what's in the truth. But he that received the seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit and bringeth forth some an hundredfold, some 60, some an hundredfold, some 60, some 30. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like unto a man which sows good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. And you know, sometimes we use the tares. We use the tares to describe, those, to describe, the Edomites or the other nations that look like Jake. Because a tear and a weed from a glance look about the same. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servant of the household came and said unto him, Sir, did not thou sow good seeds in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? He said unto them, My enemy had done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Let's both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of harvest I will say unto the reaper, Gather ye together the first tares and bind them in bundles to burn. Bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like a grain of a mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in the field. I remember. No, let me continue reading. Which indeed is the least of all seeds, but when it's grown, it is the greatest among herbs, and becometh a tree, so that the bird of the air come and lodge in the branches thereof. We have to have, remember we have our feast. We have our feast like a mustard seed. Another parable spake he unto them, the kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of a meal, till the whole was leavened. All these things spake Hoshea unto the multitude in parables, and without a parable spake he not unto them, that it might be fulfilled. So it's for those, if the spirit, in other words, if it's for you to receive, you receive it. But if not, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundation of the world. Then Yahushua sent the multitude away and went into the house. And his disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. He answered and said unto him, He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, the good seed are the children of the kingdom, and the children of the kingdom are who? The elect. The elect starting with the 144,000, and then the rest of the men and women and children predestined for salvation. But the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy has sowed them. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of the world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. And that play, that play, that fire, is talking about when the daughter of Babylon is burning. We gotta remember that place is gonna burn. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who had ears to hear, let him hear. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a treasure hidden in a field, the which when a man hath found, he hideth, and for joy thereof go out and sell all that he had, and buy that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man seeking goodly pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea, and gathered of every kind, which when it was full, they drew it to shore, and sat down, and gathered the good into vessels, but cast the bad away. So shall it be at the end of the world. Angels shall come and sever the wicked from among the just, and the just is the righteous. And they shall be and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Yahushua said unto them, Have you understood all these things? They said unto him, Yes, Lord. Then said he unto them, Therefore every scribe which is instructed unto the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is a householder, which bringeth forth out of his treasure things new and things old. And it came to pass, when Yahushua had finished these parables, he departed thence. And when he came into his own country, he taught them in their synagogue, insomuch that they were astonished, and said, Whence had this man this wisdom and these mighty works? Is this not the carpenter's son? Is his mother not called Mary? And his brethren not called James and Joseph and Simon and Judas? And his sisters, are they not all with us? Whence then had this man all these things? And they offended in him. But Yahushua said unto them, A prophet is not without honor save in his own country, and in his own house. And he did many mighty works there because of their unbelief. But yeah, I want to close it up there. I got to the end of this chapter, but Lord willing, this was edifying unto the elect. And in closing, I want to give our praises and then glory to Yahweh Shimi or Shai Shimi Kakadash. Till next time, Shalom.